What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the first day of December, and here we are sitting at about $84.3 thousand with 7 hours and 47 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are. Here we are, falling off a cliff. Volume's coming in. We haven't seen volume in the last couple of days, but to be completely fair, it was the weekend, so typically there's not a lot of volume. We did not get the Sunday pump. The Sunday pump was a lie, but the Monday dump is real. We were expecting throughout the past few days now, really throughout the past week, that we would move up to about 98 to 99, maybe even $100,000 with prospects to go higher. Find a lower high right around here, find resistance right at prior support, and then we would move down. But looks like we started to move down early anyways. A lot of bulls were celebrating here at a lower high that the bull market was back, that we're saved. A lot of bears are celebrating here now that we have a higher low, that the bear market is confirmed, as if this somehow confirms it more than what we've already done at least. I don't think we're in a position where we're going to really break out significantly either way. I maintain the stance, and regardless of the short-term calls, the long-term call is the 30 to 60-day period of which we will be moving sideways. Pumps will get dumped into, dumps will get pumped into, and that we could even see a lower low, right? Every time on the daily time frame that we've seen the RSI get to these levels, and I shouldn't say every time, but most of the time, like 90+% of the time when we get to those levels, we see Bitcoin move sideways for about 30 to 60 days. And in that time, we've even seen lower lows, right? Here, the last time that we saw the RSI at this low level was back over here. And here, let me just draw a line that way we can all be on the same page here, right? Here it is. And then it was over here, right there. That was our last low. Was that the low point of the market? No. We actually went lower over the next couple of days, and then we found support. And that was a lower high right there at prior support. This is why I thought this is what we would do this time. And then we actually came down and we saw a lower low. And then everybody thought that that was the low, and we had a double bottom. And then we saw a lower low. All of these lows very close together. Really, you're just in the same area, right? And you're in the same low area in this little box here, but slightly lower lows, each time convincing people that the bull market was over, that we'd see some more massive correction that would take us below 60 or 50K or something. And that's just the process. You just move sideways. You kind of consolidate for about a month to 2 months. And actually here, let's see, that was from February 28th until really April 21st. So March, April, that's about 2 months, not quite 2 months, a little bit less than 60 days, but 30 to 60 day period is pretty common. And in that time, we can see lower lows. We can. And that's something that we've been very adamant about talking about, and just I feel like almost every single video throughout this past week since this low, we've been saying that. And I don't want to pretend that we're 100% right here. We don't have a crystal ball. We haven't gotten this drop perfect at all. And we were bullish, not but like yesterday and the day before and the day before that, we've been bullish all week to about 99K. Maybe a little pullback is what we were somewhat expecting. Maybe you see a little bit of volatility, but ultimately pushing higher. I was not expecting that we'd dump down to 6.8% today, but we have been anticipating that we could see a lower low still see a lower low and still be in this sideways range. I want you to understand it's the same thing for the downside too. If you're thinking that this range breaks out to the downside, that's cool. I'm not on that boat, but we can disagree. But you can't disagree, or I mean you can disagree, but the data would not help you in this. That we likely will move sideways first. Even if we do move lower, we likely will move sideways for about a month or two first. And we've been moving sideways now for about 10 days. So we've got another 20 to 50 days of moving sideways. We will probably see lower lows. We might even see higher highs in that time frame. Maybe we get a higher low or a double bottom. We don't have to see a lower low. And that one example I showed you is not the only example like that. We've got other examples too. You know, going back to even August over here, right? Whenever we got this low reading in the RSI, it was all the way back here. Whenever we got the low reading there, it was all the way right here. Did we see lower prices after this low reading? No. We saw a slightly higher low, but we did move sideways for a while. But that low still got very close to this low. Did we see a lower low after this? Yes, we did, but it wasn't that far below, and then we recovered, then we moved higher. So, and we moved sideways still for about a month there or longer. So just again, reiterating the idea that while this is noisy, while the bulls are the loudest at the top of a lower high and the bears are the loudest at the bottom of a higher low, we're just sitting here in the middle saying, no, we're not really going either direction. we're just kind of going to be range bound. And I thought this range would be a little bit bigger. I did think that we'd move up probably to $100,000 before we started doing this, but I guess we're going to be range bound here somewhere between about 80K, maybe just below 80K, and let's say 100K. There's a very solid chance at this point that we don't see $100,000 by the end of December. I'm serious. Bitcoin might close this year out without being above $100,000, which on a monthly time frame or a yearly time frame, what is that? Let's see. Let's go to the 12 month. If you could close above 93.5K, that's what makes this candle green on a yearly time frame. If not, it's red. And to be completely fair, on the red yearly, we would have bearish divergence on our RSI if that happened, to be completely fair, which would actually call for a move all the way down to 46.2K. And I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know if you guys remember this. This is going to seem a little weird, but just hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. Hold on. Oh, X blinked at me. I call this blinking. I don't know what it is. It's refreshing. I know. It's just refreshing because it hasn't been used in some time. Like this is my first time using it today, actually, on my computer. Let's see. Elon Musk with the tweets. What are we doing here? We're looking up this. That's right. Bitcoin. Bitcoin right here. This channel on X.com, they made a post on the, I want to say it was the 21st. Maybe it was 2 days before the 21st, but you see how they keep track of the price of Bitcoin? They made a post that said exactly $46,200. That's what the post said. And then they deleted it. And everybody's wondering why they deleted it. But I think it's coincidental. It's kind of interesting that's where this yearly high close was in January of 2021. And that's where the bearish divergence technically would call for us to go. I'm not saying that Bitcoin's going to go back down there. I'm just saying if we close this year in the red, I might start saying that, right? In the next 30 days and 8 hours, if we do close this year in the red, technically the call would be to go back down to here or lower before we move higher, technically. At that point, we really might be in a bear market, something to consider there. But there's all kinds of other things to consider beyond just that as well. Looking at the daily time frame, but yearly bearish divergence is not anything to mess around with, guys. Absolutely not. Looking at this here, I'm under the impression that we do move sideways. I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw a higher high at some point in December. We might even close December green. But, as far as is this the low? The low right now is at 83,871. I don't know. Maybe we go a little bit lower. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and then we'll zoom out from there. Building volume. You're actually building volume as you're coming down. That's definitely not ideal. There's a lot of volume going on. It's wild. What's the stock market doing today? We've got bullish divergence on the 1 hour time frame. Something to mention there. Stock market today. Stock market today is not down that much. Down a little bit, but not down that much. Maybe there's something more coming. We do have bullish divergence on the 1 hour RSI, bullish divergence on the stochastics, and bullish divergence on the MACD. Volume was decreasing, and now it's actually increasing as we're moving lower. So that's actually not a good look in itself over the past couple of hours here. Where are we? Let's look at the 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame here. If we're at the low to the high, right at the golden ratio zone, kind of peering through it a little bit. I would think here that we probably do push down to the 786 or the 886. I was originally thinking here, and I actually even just made a post on X talking about finding support here, because statistically speaking, it's the most probable that you do find support at the golden ratio. But if you are ripping through it, if you're ripping through it on your first attempt and not really finding support at all, typically what happens is you'll find support at the 786 directly or the 886 directly or somewhere in between. And then typically from there, you run back up to the 382, 236 area. And oftentimes enough even, you run through it. So in other words, what I'm expecting here, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, I would not be surprised in the least if this drop was very short-lived, okay? Either we are at the low, which I think is a little less probable, but either we're at the low here, this is fine, this could be the low, or we have lower to go down here somewhere between 83.1K to 82K, somewhere in there. And then from there we find support and we run up to our 382.5 area or 236, 382 area or higher, right? Anywhere from 90K to 86.7K, and likely probably closest to like 88K to 90K, somewhere in there, and then beyond. And that should, if I'm correct on this, if that's what we're going to do, this should happen quick, because these quick moves down that take us below the golden ratio, they're typically pretty volatile. And mark my words, we would rapidly reapproach 88K to 90K. I wouldn't be surprised. It could even happen by the end of today, man. And we've got about 8 hours left in the day. 7.5 hours left in the day. If not, certainly by the end of this week, it very well could happen. Looking at the 4-hour time frame here, looking at these indicators, the RSI is oversold. It's the most oversold we've been in a little while now. We haven't been this oversold since the 10th of October. That's wild. This drop on the 4-hour RSI, as far as the low is concerned, it's very, I guess it's comparable in size. You can kind of see it, comparable enough, right? Stochastics are oversold. MACD is bearish. It's kind of sad. Each of these crossings above the zero, really like the last 3 of them, have all been disappointing. We thought they would continue. And maybe we jinxed it at the top, because we said that last time too. I remember we were talking about it up here. That was this top. That was this top. And here we were here. We're like, no, we're going to get a different result this time. But here we are crossing below the zero. In all fairness, 3 hours, 36 minutes left in this 4-hour candle. If we push up high enough in this 4-hour candle and we really start to push higher, we could be finding support right here. And that would actually be a really good sign that we're actually about to take out these highs, and we could push toward $100,000. It'll be interesting to see. We could see prices above 100K by the end of the month, but at this point, it's not looking like it. At this point, what I'm most considering is that we will likely consolidate somewhere between about 99K and this 80K level, maybe even just below there, again, with past results implying that we could go slightly lower. Maybe let's say 75K, something between like this low here and that low there. I don't think that we're going to do anything but be range bound up until either the very, very ass end of December, and in which case maybe we start to break out a little bit, or most likely sometime in January, but we'll see. I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Stochastics, that's not good. That's not a good look. You'd have to come back up by the end of the day to make that not look bad. This actually could promote DK for the next couple of days. The MACD is also in bad shape, and the RSI, well, the RSI is getting set up for some bullish divergence, to be completely fair. We get a close below, we get a close here or lower, and we likely do form bullish divergence on the daily time frame. We don't have to move up by the end of the day for the chart to look good. There's a lot of bullish setups down here as well. And I think that we do inevitably, before we do move higher, we will have to, whoops, I don't know what just happened there. We will have to interact with 83.1 to 81.9 thousand dollars. That's my thoughts. I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Bitcoin is dumping. The rest of the market's dumping. You know, and I made this post on my profile, and I'm not doing it just for lightheartedness. I actually think there's something to this, guys. I genuinely think there's something to this. But and I said I'm not the only one catching on to this. Gordon here, Gordon Gecko, who is a self-proclaimed $0 to crypto multimillionaire in 3 years. I'll show you how. Altcoin guy, crypto guy, 846,000 followers on X.com. He's saying, stop buying rugs and buy into communities. Which community are we buying? Just to be clear, he's talking about crypto communities, because then here he says it has to be bullish. It doesn't matter if it's bullish, and bullish has been doing all right. It doesn't matter though. But the reason why community coins, and it's a little bit more than just a meme coin, right? Meme coins can be random, but meme coins have kind of evolved from just simple memes to community-driven coins, right? And there are coins that are community-driven that are not meme coins. Like shout out to Moonrocks, for example. And this thing's been actually, look at that, pumping right now. Moonrocks is a community coin that I'm invested in personally. It's a low cap coin, but it's a community coin. Today it's up. The rest of the market, the whole damn rest of the market is red. Everything's freaking red, man. Everything's red. Everything's red. And this thing's up. It's actually up since November 1st, a tremendous amount. And it's a community coin. The reason why, and bullish is also up, a community coin. The reason why these community coins are not getting hit as hard is because the people manipulating the markets right now, and believe me, this is full-fledged manipulation. This is a coordinated effort pushing the price down, absolutely. Whether it's because they want to or it's because they have to, whoever quote-unquote they are, there is a coordinated effort of dumping from massive whales, exchanges, and all kinds of stuff going on pushing the price down right now. They're not in your communities. The only people that are in your communities are people like you and me, and I'm not selling this thing. I can tell you what, there's a ton of people who bought this thing back here. They've only bought more over here. We're not selling. Not until we're at new all-time highs. I'm not selling until we're at a $100 million market cap. We're at a $2.1 million market cap now. I'm not saying put your life savings in here. I'm not saying that this is a safe haven that everybody, you should treat this like gold and be a safe haven. I'm not even just talking about Moonrocks specifically, but shout out to Moonrocks because this is the community token that I'm invested in. But any community token. And that's the point. Gordon here, I think, is on point, right? The most bullish things, the most bearish things right now are being manipulated. So you have to go where there's no manipulation, right? Where there's belief, where there's faith, and that's community projects, right? These guys aren't selling. You can see it here. There's only been buying pressure. And it's good structure, actually. Look at the fibs. Look at how well respected. But I'm getting away from the point here. And you don't have to choose, just because I'm saying community project doesn't mean you have to choose a low cap coin, although I think this one's great. By the way, the ticker down here is this. It's beware of scams. It's this one. Maybe I'll post that in my comment here. I'll post that here. I'm not the only one catching on to this. This is my community coin right here. Shout out to Moonrocks. On that note, there we go. I don't know. It's just a thought. And are community projects going to be the best? Are they now vindicated, validated, cemented in stone to some kind of safe haven? No. But just in the midst of this obvious manipulation in the markets, I'm just saying I'm not the only person who thinks this. I'm not the only person who's caught on to this, right? There's other successful crypto investors who are saying the same things. Anyways, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I don't expect much more of this to happen. You know, maybe we do go just below this low. Maybe we do see prices just below 80K, but I doubt that we see anything below these lows. And if we do move up, that's great, but I doubt we see anything above 100K. Probably at least not until after Christmas or probably until January. I've got nothing else. Thank you all. Hit the like button, subscribe. Take care of yourselves.